Ladies and gentlemen, teach him the price of ignoring you. Let me tell you something today. You don't teach a man by begging for attention. You teach him by giving him what he gave you, nothing, but doing it better, with class and with power. Sometimes your greatest comeback in life doesn't come with noise, drama, or a mic drop. It comes with silence. The kind of silence that makes people sit in their own thoughts and realize what they lost. See, we live in a world where everybody's screaming to be heard. People raise their voices thinking volume equals value. But let me tell you something that most never understand. Real power doesn't always need to announce itself. Sometimes the loudest statement you'll ever make is the one you don't say at all. There's a point in life where you get tired of repeating yourself. Tired of explaining, of begging to be understood, of trying to prove your worth to someone who's decided to be blind. And when that moment comes, you stop, you step back, and you go silent, not because you're weak, but because you finally understand that your energy is too precious to be spent on people who don't even bother to listen. Your silence starts to become your boundary. You're not ignoring them out of anger, you're preserving yourself out of love. You're not withholding affection to hurt anyone. You've just decided to give it to someone who deserves it, you. Because truth is, not everyone deserves the sound of your laughter, the comfort of your presence, or the weight of your loyalty. Not everyone deserves access to your voice. And when you remove yourself quietly, when you stop responding, stop showing up, stop chasing validation, that's when it hits them. They feel the shift. The empty space you once filled now echoes with the silence you left behind. And that silence, it screams louder than all the words you ever said trying to fix what they kept breaking. It speaks truths you couldn't express with 1,000 conversations, because when people are used to your presence, your absence becomes a deafening void. Let them wonder why you stopped talking. Let them sit in the quiet and finally realize that attention is not the same as intention. Let them scroll through your memories, trying to replay conversations they never listened to. You don't owe anyone a dramatic exit. You don't need to shout to prove your worth. Just leave the room, and let your silence be the voice they'll never forget. Silence, when used with purpose, is not passive. It is active. It's a declaration that says, I no longer lower my standards for someone who refuses to rise. It's a sign that you've graduated from needing validation to walking in self-respect. People will feel the absence of what they once took for granted. And no explanation is needed, because the moment you go quiet, the ones who truly valued you will hear everything they failed to understand when you were speaking. When someone starts ignoring you, it's natural to feel confused, frustrated, even hurt. You start questioning yourself, wondering what you did wrong, where the switch flipped, or why someone who once wanted your time now acts like you don't exist. But here's where the shift happens, not in getting answers from them, but in giving purpose to that pain. While they're busy ignoring you, your job is not to chase, not to plead, and definitely not to shrink. Your job is to upgrade. You don't need to convince someone to see your worth. You need to build yourself so strong, so radiant, so elevated that the version of you they left behind is unrecognizable compared to the version they one day wish they still had access to. Let them go ahead and pretend like you don't matter. That's fine. While they're out there being blind, be busy evolving. Be busy investing in your mind, your body, your peace, your grind. Because here's the truth. People don't regret what they lost until what they lost becomes something they can't afford anymore. Growth is the best revenge, but even more than that, it's the best gift you'll ever give yourself. Leveling up isn't about them. It's about you finally putting your energy back where it belongs, on your dreams. Your goals, your happiness. When they're looking sideways, wondering where you went, you'll already be 10 steps ahead, walking in rooms they can't enter, living a life they no longer have the privilege to witness. The irony is, when you stop chasing, you start attracting. You begin to glow differently, you carry yourself differently, and the same person who ignored you will start noticing. But by then, the seat they gave up won't be available anymore. You'll have filled your table with people who see you, value you, celebrate you, not just when it's convenient, but because they genuinely recognize your worth. So every time you feel like reaching out, sending that text, trying to remind them what they're missing, don't. Redirect that energy into the gym, into your business, into your craft. Stack your wins, sharpen your mindset, show up every single day as someone stronger than the day before, because the truth is, you don't need to be wanted, you need to be unstoppable. Let them remember the old you while watching the new you from a distance. Let them sit with the fact that while they were busy ignoring you, you became someone they no longer deserve. Someone too focused to be distracted, too healed to be hurt, too upgraded to ever look back. There comes a time when you have to look in the mirror and say, I'm not for sale at a bargain price. Your love, your energy, your time, they are premium, and yet too many people walk around handing themselves out like samples in a store, hoping someone will pick them, validate them, choose them. But here's the truth, your self-worth ain't on clearance. You're not some leftover item sitting on a dusty shelf waiting for someone to realize your value. You're not meant to be picked over, passed by, or only desired when it's convenient. Every time you give full-time loyalty to someone treating you like a part-time option, you're telling them it's okay to put you last, and it's not. Your heart is not a waiting room where people come and go as they please. Your attention is not a free trial. You are not a second choice, a backup plan, or a placeholder until something better comes along. The moment you start accepting crumbs, people will stop offering you the whole meal. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If someone sees that they can show up late, half, love you, half commit, and still have full access to your life, why would they ever give you more? Why would they ever step up when they know you'll keep showing up no matter how little they offer in return? It's not about being arrogant or unkind. It's about knowing what you bring to the table and refusing to let anyone eat for free. Start acting like you know your worth. Stop texting first. Stop making all the effort. Stop adjusting your crown to make someone else feel comfortable. You are not desperate for attention. You are deserving of intention. There's a big difference. The more you respect yourself, the more you'll see who really respects you in return. Not everyone deserves front row access to your life. Some people are only meant to see the highlight reel from the sidelines. You were not created to be a discount version of yourself, just to be accepted by someone too blind to see your full value. The right people will recognize your worth without a sale tag. They will meet you at your level, not ask you to lower your standards so they can feel better about themselves. And until those people show up, you walk alone with your head held high and your standards intact. So next time someone tries to give you less than what you deserve, remember who you are. You are rare. You are powerful, and you are not up for negotiation. Let them shop elsewhere, because this kind of love, this kind of energy, this kind of woman or man doesn't come cheap. When someone hurts you, overlooks you, or plays games with your heart, the first instinct might be to strike back, to show them they messed with the wrong one. But let me tell you something, they are not worth your anger, not worth your energy, and they're definitely not worth your peace, because revenge is too small for someone like you. You weren't born to be petty, you were born to be powerful. You don't clap back with words, you clap back with elevation. Let your success do all the talking. Nothing shakes a person more than watching someone they once underestimated rise without them. Nothing stings harder than realizing they let go of someone who turned out to be everything they thought they'd never lose. That kind of realization doesn't come from an argument, a late-night text, or a passive-aggressive post on social media. It comes when you walk in rooms they can't enter anymore. When your name starts circulating in conversations they're no longer a part of. When your glow gets so bright it burns their eyes from the sidelines. Every time you choose peace over payback, you win. Every time you grind when no one's watching, you build a story that no one can deny. While they're out there playing games, you're out here leveling up, getting sharper, stronger, smarter. You're putting in the work not to prove them wrong, but to prove yourself right, because success isn't about revenge, it's about respect. Self-respect, legacy, purpose. You don't need to announce your growth. Real elevation makes noise all by itself. People start to notice when you're not available like you used to be, when you're too focused to entertain foolishness. When you stop begging to be understood and start walking like someone who finally understands themselves. That's when they feel it. That's when it hits. That's when the silence gets heavy, because now they're watching you become the best version of yourself, and they're not a part of the story anymore. Let success be your clapback. Let your joy be the echo of a chapter they didn't believe you could write. Show up with vision, with passion, with discipline. Build the life they said you couldn't have. And live it loudly, but not for them, for you. Because you owe it to yourself to become everything they couldn't see in you. You were never the problem. They just didn't have the capacity to handle your light. So now you shine, you walk forward. You leave behind the noise and step into your purpose. Not for revenge, but for growth. Not for attention, but for fulfillment. And one day, when they look back and realize they fumbled the bag, let it be known the bag was you. Time is one of the most precious things you'll ever own, and once it's gone, you can't buy it back. It doesn't matter how rich, how sorry, or how desperate someone becomes. Time isn't something you get refunds on. That's why you've got to stop giving it away to people who can't even see what they're holding. Stop investing your minutes, your hours, your years into someone who treats your presence like it's replaceable. Because if he couldn't see your value when he had full access to you, he sure doesn't deserve a seat when the whole world starts clapping for you. You gave him chances, you gave your loyalty, your effort, your time, and he overlooked it, treated you like an afterthought, answered texts late, gave half-effort responses, showed up when it was convenient. And back then, you excused it, thinking maybe he was busy, maybe he'd change, maybe he just needed time. But the truth is, he saw everything you gave and simply didn't respect it. He thought you'd always be there. Thought you'd keep waiting, thought the spotlight would never move, but now the lights are on you. Now you've stepped into your season. You're not waiting anymore. You're walking, you're not hoping, you're building. And while he's out there remembering what it felt like to be loved by someone real, you're becoming someone he'll only get to watch from a distance. He wanted to act blind when he had you, fine. But now that the show's sold out, now that you're center stage and glowing, he doesn't get to ask for tickets. People love to circle back when they see you doing well, when you're thriving, glowing up, living the life they never thought you would without them. Suddenly they remember your worth. But don't get it twisted. Most of the time they don't miss you. They miss the access they had to the best version of you. They miss the comfort, the support, the love they didn't have to earn. And once it's gone, they start calling it a mistake. But your time is not a playground. You are not someone to be rediscovered like an old song. You're not here to play encore to someone who didn't even clap when you were struggling on stage. You don't owe second chances to someone who wasted the first one. You owe it to yourself to protect your time, your energy, your peace. When someone proves they can't value you, believe them. Don't write new scripts for someone who couldn't even follow the first act. Don't give VIP access to someone who walked out halfway through the performance. Let them scroll through your life like a highlight reel they can't fast, forward, or rewind. Let them feel the loss, not through your anger, but through your absence. Because if he couldn't see your value when you were right there beside him, he doesn't deserve a front row seat now that you've become everything he never appreciated. There's something powerful about rising after being overlooked. When someone ignores you, especially someone you gave your time, love, and loyalty to, it cuts deep. You question yourself. You wonder if you weren't enough, if you could have done more, been more, said less, tried harder. But the truth is, sometimes people don't ignore you because you lacked something. They ignore you because they lack the ability to see everything you are. And when that happens, you don't shrink, you shift. You evolve, you rise, not for them, but for you. Going from ignored to adored is not about seeking validation. It's not about proving your worth to the person who missed it. It's about realizing that you were never the side story. You were always the main character, they just never had the vision to read between the lines. While they skipped ahead looking for something more exciting, they missed the beauty of your beginning, the strength in your struggle, and the magic in your growth. You're not just a comeback story, you're not a plot twist in someone else's journey. You are the author, the narrator, the voice that turns the page when it's time. And if someone had to lose you to realize what they had, then let that be their lesson, not your burden. Let them watch from afar as you write new chapters filled with purpose, power, and peace. Let them see the version of you that doesn't need to be chosen to feel worthy, doesn't need to be noticed to feel seen. Because the real glow-up isn't in looking better or doing more, it's in knowing that you don't need anyone to validate the chapters you write. You tell your story your way. And when people start coming back around, trying to flip through the pages they once ignored, they'll realize they missed the most important part, the prologue, the part where you were all in, fully present, offering them your best before they even had to ask. And they passed it up. Now that you've healed, grown, and built yourself on your own terms, you don't owe anyone a reread. You don't have to rewind your story for someone who dismissed the beginning. You keep writing, keep living, keep shining, because the day will come when your name is spoken in rooms you've never entered, when your story is admired by people who never believed in the first place. And the one who ignored you, he'll sit there regretting every unread moment, every overlooked detail, every time he chose silence when you were giving everything. That regret doesn't need your reaction. It doesn't need your revenge. It needs your success, your joy, your peace. That's the real power, becoming so complete in your journey that you no longer crave a seat at any table that once refused to serve you. Let them wish they'd stayed for the whole story while you continue writing a masterpiece they can no longer touch.